Hey, what's up everybody? I'm KB Kwan. Welcome back to this channel, Taste of Asian Food. And today I would like to share with you a recipe that is super easy to make at home. It is the Taiwanese version of the minced pork rice. In Mandarin, we call it 肉燥饭. And how easy it is just make your ground pork sauce, and after you have prepared the sauce and put it on top of the rice and serve. And that's how simple it is. But the flavor is incredible because we use the varieties of spices, seasonings, and also one secret ingredient, fried shallots. So in these videos, we would like to share this recipe with you. Let's get started. The most important ingredient is of course the pork, the minced pork. Now this is the pork that I have, and if you notice the color is slightly whitish at certain part, it is because it contains about a quarter of pork fat. It is not totally lean meat, because if I use lean meat, the texture will be quite tough. So it is always better to use about a quarter to 1/3 of fat to make the minced pork. One important ingredient for this recipe is the fried shallot. So I have already deep fried the shallot. To make it is pretty easy. Just put some oil in the pan over low heat, deep fry it until this color and remove it, and that's it. And this is the oil that I have just used to fry the shallot. The shallot oil is very aromatic, and I will use this shallot oil to fry it and cook together with other ingredients today. I also prepared 2 hard-boiled eggs earlier, and if you want to know a little bit more details about how to make a perfect hard-boiled egg and also the fried shallot, I have 2 videos, one about the egg, the other one about the fried shallot that I have uploaded earlier, and I will leave the link to these 2 videos in the description box below this video. It is also good to add some dry mushroom, the Chinese dry mushroom in this recipe. These are the dry mushroom that I have. I've soaked it in warm water until it is soft, and then I cut it into small cubes. Since this is a very simple recipe, as I mentioned, so there's not really a lot of preparation required. This is the shallot oil that I use to fry the shallot. Very, very aromatic. I'm going to use the shallot to fry the ground pork. Before I add the pork, let's put the garlic and ginger first and wait until it starts to become aromatic. Next, I add a part of the fried shallot. Then add the pork. Loosen the pork and mix well together with the aromatic. Cook the pork until it is no longer pink. It will take about 3 minutes. But I prefer to continue frying it a little while so that it starts to turn just slightly brown to improve the flavor. And it's always easier to use a pair of chopsticks to do it rather than a wooden spatula. And I'm going to season it with some light soy sauce. This is the primary seasoning ingredient for this recipe. About 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. And I can always adjust the flavor afterwards after a taste test. And also we need some dark soy sauce. The dark soy sauce is a little bit caramelized and thicker. It provides a much darker color. If you want the sauce to be much darker color, you can always add more. And besides that, we also need some oyster sauce for that. About a tablespoon for this quantity. And then you need some wine, Chinese wine. And also you need some sugar. You can use any sugar, but I have a piece of rock sugar that is going to give it a glossy appearance. So let's put in my rock sugar, and lastly just a little bit, half teaspoon of 5-spice powder. And that is basically all the seasoning that is required for the meat sauce. Let's add the diced shiitake mushroom and also some spices. I'm using only 2 different types of spices, that is the cinnamon and star anise. So now it's quite ready, and it's time to add some water to braise the sauce. I prefer to transfer it to a pot that is easier to handle. Add some water to braise the pork together with some water that we use to soak the mushroom, which is aromatic and fragrant. Let's bring it to a boil, and then we reduce the heat and simmer over low heat for about 15 minutes. Now I'm still in the process of braising it, but let me put that hard-boiled egg inside and let it fully submerge inside. The purpose is to let the flavor from the sauce absorb into the egg. Let's braise it for another 20 minutes or until the liquid is much lesser. It's now just too much water. Okay, we'll come back later. So I've braised the egg for another about 20 to 25 minutes, and it is still a little bit too much of water, so let me braise it for another 10 minutes and see how it goes. And meanwhile, it's also time to do a test to see if we need to adjust the flavor. Let's try. I prefer to add just a little bit more of light soy sauce and some dark soy sauce, as I prefer the color to be slightly darker. Now that looks much better. Okay, let it braise for another 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, now is the last stage of cooking. Let's add some chopped scallion or chopped green onion to it, together with the remaining of the fried shallots. Give it a stir, and that is our Taiwanese minced pork for the fried rice. To serve, spoon generously the minced pork sauce on top of the plain rice. And then cut open a hard-boiled egg and put it on top. Then garnish with more spring onion to serve. That's how to make Rou Zhao Fan or Taiwanese minced pork rice, and I hope you will love this recipe. It is a very easy to make and convenient one-pot meal that you can make anytime at home. And if you want to get the recipe, I've included it in the description box below the videos and also at the end of this video for your reference. Please subscribe, tap the notification, and try it out at home and let me know the result. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video. See you again. Bye.